Good morning, everyone. So I'm back in the workshop today, back in my happy place, and I'm back onto these silver earrings that I've been trying to make for about the last 4 months, but there we go. So we're down to these two little silver pieces cut out from sheet, as you've seen in the video, and they're all scratched. Let's see if I can focus that. You can see it there, lots of little scratches and scrapes and marks. So I want to get all these out, and then I want to put a little dent, just like a little dent here with a punch, just where I want the ear post to go, and then I'll solder the ear posts on, and it's a matter of polishing up and finishing. So enjoy. So I'm just going to use some wet and dry paper. This is a grade 180. I always mark it with my own numbers because that's the numbers I learned with. So we just wet the silver and then gently use our finger to guide it round on the wet and dry. Now this will probably graze the skin off your fingers, so you sort of have to keep moving it to avoid that. And what we want is to go through a series of these papers so that we're left with a perfectly flat, smooth surface with no scrapes or bumps. So we just keep turning it around to check it, keep wetting. And the idea is to just have that nice flat surface. So let's have a look. I've already flattened these pieces with the mallet, so I know that the surface is flat. It's just about getting all those marks and scratches off now. I haven't decided whether I'm going to completely polish these or leave it with a matte finish on top and then just polished surfaces on the side. So I'll decide that near the end. I think that's enough for that first one. We'll just dip it into the water. I have a little cup of water here and we just keep dipping it in. Dry it off. And just check that you think you've got most of the main scratches out. So I can still see a line on that one, so it needs a bit more. That side is fine, so we'll go a bit more with that side. It's important too that the table, the surface below your paper, is completely flat. I know that this desk is flat, but you must check that your surface is flat or it will be uneven. Let's check that. Let's give it a clean in the water. Yeah, that's looking quite good. Just a little bit more, I think. Just wet it again. The more you do this, the nicer surface you're going to have at the end. So it's worthwhile to put this work in now. Check that. Yep, that's looking good. So that one's ready to move on to the next stage, so we'll just quickly sand this one. Okay, so now we want to mark the points where we want our stems to go. So what I want to do is I want to just use the marker and try and keep it in the center. You probably should be doing this with a ruler, but I kind of roughly know where I want it to go. Just line them up beside each other. And just make sure they're at the same position. Hold on to it and then put your second mark where you want it to go. So that's where I want to punch the holes. So now I need my hole punch. Should have had this ready. Okay, so I have my hole punch. It's like a metal tool with not too sharp a point on it, but basically you want to set that on to the mark where you marked it with your marker, hold it in place, and then use your rawhide mallet just to put like a little dent, not too hard, just enough so that the earring post will sit snugly in there when you're soldering it in place. There we go. You'll probably not be able to see that, but there it is there. Okay, so I have got these little silver pieces to the desired curve that I want. I don't know if you can try and see it and put them there. So you can see there's just a little gentle curve, and they're both practically identical. And then these are the ear posts that I've made to go on. So you'll see where this bit will attach to that little dent that I made in there. So they'll look something like that, and that bit will get soldered on there. So it's just like a wire. It's hard to show you, but what I want to do now is just finish these wires off. So I've created like a very gentle point, and that's to fit into the little hole, the little dent that I made on that. That should just fit in nicely when I'm soldering. And then I want to just, this is a very rough cut silver edge, so I just want to make that nice and little pointy to go in through your ear hole, but sort of soft and smooth so it doesn't hurt when it's going through. So I want to just finish those off, and to do that I just need a file. I'm going to use a very gentle needle file. For that, and I'm going to trap it inside my clump so that I can turn it easily. So you just want a little bit sitting up, and then you wedge the bottom to keep that in. I'll grab my file, and then we just want to gently curve the edge like that, and then we can keep turning it. That's why the clamp is so handy, because it's very fiddly when you're holding it with your fingers. So we're just curving the needle file the whole time that we're turning so that it creates a point, like an even point the whole way around. And then we'll just keep checking if there's any rough edges that you need to concentrate on. So I'll just continue on doing that with both of the points. So now we're ready to solder the post onto the actual earring. And what I've done is I've already pre-mixed my borax paste. So this is a borax cone and your dish, and you just use water and stir this around, and it creates like a borax paste. So we need this to hold the solder joint together. So we just gently put a little bit onto the place that you want to solder. Then we pick up some of our strip solder that I've already pre-cut. That one didn't want to come up, so we'll use that one, and we'll just set it in where the dent is. And the idea is that I get my torch and I'll heat the sheet bit first because it's the larger surface area, and then I'll gently heat the tip of this wire, and then what we want to do is just set it down into place when just before the solder is ready to flow. So I'm just going to use my little portable torch for this one. I do have a bigger one, but whenever the pieces are this small, this type of flame is okay. So what we want to do is just gently start to heat that point. The flux will start to burn a little, and we just want the solder to stay in place, so we won't put too much on. Now we're going to start heating up the whole piece, and then the idea is to just bring this point over and gently start heating it. So I can see that the solder is nearly ready to go. We have to be ready to just set this join in place like that. It's nearly ready to flow. There we go, I can see it going now. Perfect. Lovely. Just take the heat off. Let go of the join and you can see it's all sitting in place. And what we want to do is we want to take this off and put it into some cold water. So quench it in cold water just to take the heat, because this is all really hot. So I've got to take it out of this, quench it, and then we want to clean it in the pickle. So here from a little slow cooker, and in there is the pickle. So you can see the 2 silver earrings in there. They were completely black with fire stain, and the pickle will eventually turn them into a nice white silver colour before polishing. Hi, so I'm back at the bench and I'm ready to finish these earrings off. So as you can see, they're all nice and white silver because they've just come out of the pickle after being soldered, all nice and clean. And I think I am going to leave a matte finish on the front, have them nice and polished on the sides, and a polished post. Okay, so watch this piece. Use the finest Everflex rubber pendant burr to give me a nice fine polish, and see if there's any marks or dents that I need to work on a bit more. And then after that I'm going to polish it, and then I'll put the texture on the front at the end. So just make sure that that burr is tightened and turn it on. And we're just going to rub it along here just to see if there's any marks or dents. It should give me a nice polished look here. So that post is looking quite good, nice and polished. There's no marks on it, so I'm happy with that. That's ready for a final polish. So we'll move on to the sides here. The reason why I'm using this finest one is because it won't take off much of the silver until I see where I need to work on. So it does sand it in a way, but very finely. Okay, so those edges are looking good. So we're just going to move on to the back bit here. And hopefully if I have pre-sanded well enough with the emery papers, then I won't have much more work to do. This point is really great for getting in beside the solder joint. Hopefully I don't have much sanding to do around it either. So I'm just going to get a closer look with the eyeglass and see if that's pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. I think once we get it polished up, it'll be fine. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm ready to give all the edges that final polish, and I'm going to use a felt mop, which is like a soft mop that goes onto my Dremel tool, and this is my platinum polish that gives the best shine. So just turn that on, put some polish on there. This is a bit messy, this job, so I'm going to use my finger guards and hope that this doesn't catch when I'm polishing it. I'm going to try a different type of polish and felt mop because this one's too big and awkward to get into that section that I need just at the end of the earring. So we're going to go for one that has a slight point. So this is still a felt mop, but it's more compacted. We'll get some polish on it. I'm going to have to ditch the finger guards so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that's perfect. So it's getting into that bottom bit that I can't get at. And you can feel the silver getting really hot. Now I'm going to see if I can let you see the difference in these two. Just give that a little white. Okay, so we have, you see how shiny this one is compared to this one? It's still quite a white, dull finish. Now, I'm going to finish the texture on this one to give it a nice matte finish, and I'm going to use a brass pendant wheel, so it's like a little brass brush. Turn that on. Now I might just use my finger protectors for this, so I don't fancy getting rubbed by this way. So we're just going to lightly over the top of this. Try not to touch my sides because I want them to stay polished. Okay, this is giving this a nice soft finish, but it's showing up all the little imperfections on the front. So I'm going to have to do a wee bit more work to the front of this. So you can see the nice soft finish on that, but there's a few wee marks at the top that are going to need some attention. Okay, so one of the last stages I'll do is take a little bit of silver cleaner, and I just want to clean up the top of the surface because it just looks a little discolored and uneven. So I'm just going to grab that in my clamp, a tiny wee bit of silver, and then you just gently rub it over the top and just take some of that discoloration away. And then we just get a soft cloth and you just polish that off. And even though you have given the silver a matte finish with the brass brush, it still can shine up but just be a little duller than the other polished surfaces. So that is looking great. Just take it out of the clamp, and I'm just going to run a wee bit of that silver along the back where it's completely shiny polish, because there is a wee bit of polish stuck there. Yeah, that's good. And I put this cloth onto my peg so that I don't put any scrapes or marks on the silver once I'm at that polishing stage. So we're just going to take that silver off now, or silver. So I'm happy with those. The last thing I want to do is just dip them into a little silver dip cleaner, and that'll get any last wee bits of polish that you might have on them. So here we have it, our flat peace silver earrings